Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, quick update about the daily chart. Bitcoin did here hold above the trend line, still holding above the upper range boundary line, and the daily candle closed and the weekly candle closed just above it. So we haven't got yet that confirmation that a larger pullback has started. I think we should know more probably in the next 1 or 2 days. The price is still holding above it. I mentioned to you yesterday that we have to expect a lot of volatility this week due to the US elections and the Fed interest rate decision. So at the moment, I'm simply watching for further signals that the pullback has started. The levels are defined. As I said, it's a bit too early to really define whether the white or the blue scenario are unfolding. The support areas cover both at the moment. Yes, another direct upside extension is possible. And the break above last week's high could send us to 78k next. Please consider that. For anybody who wants to entertain and trade that possibility, I mean, you can always set a stop below the last swing low, but I don't have a clear Elliott Wave long trade setup at the moment. So I'm simply watching if the market forms a larger pullback into these support regions. As I said, the wave count to the upside is full, both in white wave 3 and blue wave 1. But as you know, until I think mid of last week or end of last week, I've been tracking the possibility of one more upside extension. So the possibility is there, but the microstructure is just not very convincing. So I have to focus more on the risk in the market. And the risk in the market means we could drop down into that support zone. And there is a support zone for the white scenario, which indicates a wave 4 pullback, with support between 59,780 and 64,728 USD. And the larger pullback, which is for a wave 2, could send us into the area between 53,768 and 60,258. So I'm slightly leaning towards the idea that this pullback has started. It has only just started, so it's very fragile still, and we need a little bit more price action to determine where things could be going. At the moment, I can only tell you about the standard support levels. Yeah. Now, looking at the micro count then, the idea is that we could have started this pullback. Yes, you can see it here. I've labeled the top on the 29th of October high at 73,600 as either wave 3 top or wave 1 in blue. And the move down, however, and I mentioned that in yesterday's video, the move down is only in 3 waves so far. So I don't have any short trade set up. I think to trade this on the short side for me would be a little bit too speculative because we haven't got a short trade setup. What is an Elliott Wave short trade setup? An Elliott Wave short trade setup consists of a 5-wave move down, which we don't even have, a 3-wave corrective rally into resistance, and then you could short the above the top of the first 5-wave move down. But we haven't got a 5-wave move down, right? So the next short trade setup that could appear would be after a rally into resistance. Then the C wave should be a 5-wave move. So we would get a wave 1 and a wave 2, 3, 4, 5. And that wave 2 corrective rally could be shorted with a stop above the beginning of the wave 1 to the downside. That's the only real Elliott Wave short trade setup I see. So at the moment there isn't one, okay, so I think we can remain quite flexible at the moment about whether there's an upside extension or not. From a long trade point of view, also here, not really anything clear in the very short term. I would need a first 5-wave move up followed by a 3-wave pullback. We don't have a 5-wave move up at this stage, so it's simply a case of watching the market develop, giving us clarity, clarifying the chart. And at the moment, the wave count that I shared with you in the last few days is still relevant, which means that I'm tracking here this A wave into the next micro support area, which is located between 64,278 and 66,992. This scenario would be an A, B, C structure, and the C wave is likely an ending diagonal where we completed waves 1 and 2 already. The third wave is likely an A, B, C structure, 4, 5. But it's not selling off impulsively, all right? So one of the updates I provided earlier today for our Discord members is the move down isn't impulsive. So the microstructure is likely morphing. Be ready for surprises, which is why I added the yellow count, which allows for a larger B wave bounce. Okay, so that's a possibility. How does that work? That's an alternative scenario in which we could also be moving down in the A wave, but it's the larger ABC structure, and the A wave finished down here as a WXY structure, and then this would be an A wave. We're now moving up in a B wave before we go down further in wave A. Okay, why did I add that? Because the movement to the downside is corrective, the movement to the upside at the moment is corrective as well. What I could do is here just add a possible, just to give you an idea, you know, this is definitely possible that we see a larger bounce. Why do I say that? Yeah, as I said, because the move down isn't really impulsive. I mean, the price has a chance to put a top in place, but the move down is definitely corrective, hesitant. And in both counts, we would have started the pullback, right? It's just giving you a couple of ideas how the market could develop. So don't be caught off guard if we see a little bit of a bounce when the US market opens. It's just that I see the tendency, because when the market doesn't really follow through to the downside impulsively, you know, it has a chance to morph and give us a bit of a bounce before going down further. Resistance area is still on the chart, still relevant, between 70,469 and 73,589. And at the moment, I think it's just a matter of watching if yesterday's swing low is holding, because if this is the case, then we likely had a WXY structure in wave A probably, yeah. But as I said, it's certainly a corrective move down, nothing impulsive there. So I would at least be ready for a bit of a bounce there. But that doesn't make it a great setup. So it's simply tracking the waves at the moment until we get a clear setup. That's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.